At least 77 people are dead and at least 100 are injured after an apparent attack during a celebration in southern France. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Mike has the night off. A truck that was said to be carrying several different types of weapons drove right into a crowd of people. The driver of the truck was shot dead by officers. Mark Albert reports.
Chaos and terror in the streets of Nice. Police chased a white truck after it plowed into a crowd celebrating Bastille Day. You can hear police firing their guns, trying to stop it. The regional government says the truck was loaded with guns and grenades, and that the driver opened fire into the crowd Thursday night, leaving dozens of bodies strewn along the roadway. Hundreds of people ran, screaming in horror and racing for safety after the truck drove through crowds for more than a mile before police shot the driver dead. In the aftermath, personnel in camouflage carrying rifles stood guard around the sprawling crime scene as Paris anti-terror police investigate. French President François Hollande returned to Paris from a trip to the south of France following the attack and immediately met with his crisis team. President Obama condemned what he described as an apparent terror attack. U.S. intelligence officials tell CBS News the incident appears to be deliberate, but say it's too early to tell who's involved. Mark Albert, CBS News.
The U.S. consulate is working with authorities to determine whether any U.S. citizens were injured. So far, no group has claimed responsibility.
I just had a feeling something was up, but I never in a million years dreamed that it would be inside the bathroom. I just didn't think anybody would violate that space.
A message tonight from a woman who says a man followed her into the bathroom at the downtown Fargo library and was looking at her through the stall. A 22-year-old man is in the Cass County Jail accused of spying on a woman in the downtown Fargo Public Library bathroom. This man is facing disorderly conduct charges, as well as some charges for violating the 24/7 sobriety program. Police and the jail say he's changed the spelling of his name a couple different times, possibly trying to trick them. He doesn't have a permanent address, but he's believed to be local. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Nicole Johnson spoke with the victim and has her story.
Felt somebody following me when I stopped and saw him by the fountain.
On the way to the ladies' bathroom, she had an uneasy feeling.
I never dreamed that he would just follow me right in.
Completely violated is how Mary Cornelli describes it.
Maybe he was just looking for anybody, or maybe particularly me, I don't know. But I wouldn't want it to happen again to anyone.
She noticed him on her way in, but went to the bathroom anyway.
I was going to the bathroom. I noticed somebody came in quietly. I figured it was a woman because they were so quiet. Then when I noticed nobody was going to the bathroom and making any noise, I looked down and realized that that was the feet of the guy I just saw outside. And I started to see the top of his head come down, and I was like, no, not happening.
Cornelli put her clothes back on, ran out of the stall, grabbed the man, pulled him out of the bathroom and yelled for help.
Was more concerned about not being in there alone with him, so I was kind of dragging him and screaming because he is a really small guy. Had he been somebody bigger or with a weapon or overpowered, I could have got hurt in there.
Cornelli chose to fight, but says things could have gone differently for someone younger.
You think nothing of telling your 14, 15-year-old, yeah, run in there and go to the bathroom and meet me back out here. You don't think about that something bad can happen. You should be able to feel safe.
This is the man facing charges for disorderly conduct in Cornelli's case. She's hoping he doesn't get off easy.
That's my message, that these places should be safe, and if we don't charge people with crimes, they won't be.
Nicole Johnson, Valley News Live.
Police say disorderly conduct is the typical charge for a case like this one. And a representative from the Cass County State's Attorney's Office says they haven't reviewed the charges yet, saying they could change them if they don't agree with them. Meanwhile, the director of the library says they have given video of the incident to police. A burglary suspect who is believed to be in possession of a stolen firearm is in jail. Lucas Gilbertson was caught on surveillance video in a burglary that occurred in East Grand Forks. Authorities attempted to speak with Gilbertson at his farm, but he fled the area, leading officers on a pursuit. He ended up running out of gas and continued to flee on foot, where he was caught shortly after. A revolver and marijuana were found at the scene. Authorities were also able to find additional stolen property and drug paraphernalia at Gilbertson's farm. A Fargo woman has been arrested after making threats to her neighbors last night, causing the entire neighborhood to go into lockdown. Police arrested 46-year-old KIDNAPPIng Harrington for terrorizing and resisting arrest. Officers believe alcohol was a factor in the disturbance call that came in around 9 last night. They say Harrington was threatening to shoot her neighbor and fire at police if they came to the house. After speaking with the woman and her family, police determined there was no threat to the public. No one was hurt, and police say there were no weapons involved, despite the initial threat. A kidnapping suspect has made a request to be allowed to leave the jail for 6 hours and visit his sick mother. The jail has denied Jacob Kinn's request. However, a Beltrami County judge still needs to decide. Kinn was arrested June 23rd after a manhunt for a missing 5-year-old girl. She disappeared after a fire destroyed the mobile home of the woman babysitting her. The body of Melissa Norby was found tied up and under a mattress in the rubble. Kinn is currently jailed on kidnapping and parole violation charges. He has not been charged with murder or sexual assault. The 5-year-old kidnapping victim showed physical signs of sexual abuse, and investigators link a missing gasoline can from Kinn's home to one found inside Norby's. At the time of his arrest, Kinn, a registered sex offender, was still on probation from a 2013 child pornography conviction. His next court date is scheduled for September. A Minnesota woman from the Twin Cities is accused of selling heroin to 3 people who overdosed and died, all within the last year. This woman, 30-year-old Beverly Burrell, is in jail on a $1 million bond. She's been charged with murder for the 3 deaths. All 3 people died of overdoses. In at least one case, the heroin that caused a victim's death was laced with fentanyl. The Tom Bearson Foundation will host its 2nd annual golf outing in just over a week in Sartell, Minnesota. Bearson was a freshman at NDSU when he disappeared and was later found dead in Moorhead. The case regarding his death is still under investigation. The tournament is set for July 23rd at 1 p.m. The Tom Bearson Foundation is a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to keeping Tom's memory alive through basketball scholarships. To learn more about the event or to donate, we have much more online. Head to valleynewslive.com and click on this story. North Dakota's newest millionaire says he's being careful with his money. Former Bison quarterback Carson Wentz signed a $26.7 million contract with the Eagles, but still is acting like the humble Bismarck native Bison fans have grown to love. Thanks to a promotional contest with Shields, more than 400 fans got to meet Carson, snap a picture with him, and get his autograph. When asked if he has made any big purchases, he didn't reveal his secrets.
Bought some things, you know. I'm trying to be smart with it here still, but I've bought some things, so don't worry about that.
Wentz will report to training camp in Philadelphia July 24th with his first practice on the 25th. And Valley News Live is headed to training camp with Carson as well, so watch for our special coverage later this month. Donald Trump is scheduled to reveal his pick for a vice presidential running mate tomorrow, but word leaked out today that the decision has been made. A GOP source confirms to CBS News that Indiana Governor Mike Pence will be Donald Trump's pick to be his running mate. The decision comes just one day after Pence and Trump spent time together at his Indiana home. Pence is a virtual unknown to many voters. A poll shows 86% of those surveyed say they don't know enough about him to formulate an opinion. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton is also working to finalize who she will choose to be her vice presidential nominee. A new AAA study reveals nearly 80% of drivers have expressed road rage in the last year. The nationwide study found the most common behaviors include tailgating on purpose, yelling, angry hand gestures, confronting another driver, and even purposely ramming another car. Police say you're going to get annoyed behind the wheel, but just stay calm, back off, and realize you're probably not the greatest driver on the road anyway.
If somebody think I'm in a rush or something and they want to be a bitch about it, they'll sit there and go slower there, press on their brakes hit me kind of stuff, and I'd be like, oh my gosh.
The survey also found that more than half of drivers feel road rage is a bigger problem now than when a previous study was conducted 3 years ago. And remember, you can also catch our traffic updates each morning on the Valley Today. A third person has died in the floodwaters in northern Wisconsin. An 82-year-old man was found dead early this morning in a pickup truck in the floodwaters of the Marengo River. The truck was found in the water near a bridge in the town of White River. 2 others have died in northern Wisconsin flooding since severe weather washed out roads and caused other damage earlier this week.
Valley